What's up? Welcome back to another Two Dads in Tech. What's up, dude?
Oh my goodness.
Much. Did you hear that? Could you hear my chair kind of breaking right there?
I wish I could.
Man, I'm big. I'm a large man. So many wings. I wonder if I've gained weight.
Juicier too.
What is it? Is that a commercial? What in the world is that?
It is. It is a commercial from like the 60s. I don't know why.
Interesting. I love the Tootsie Pop commercials. Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the center
of
a Tootsie Pop?
Roll Tootsie with Tootsie Pop? I don't know.
Well, let's find out. A 1,
2, 3.
A 3? So good. Dude. That's good. Should we just end the podcast there?
Just
could you wait? We should do that at least once.
Like,
yeah, we
60-second episode. All right. Find us at twodadsinTech.com. Bye. That would be very funny.
I kind of want to do that. That'd be so funny. Hey, I was having a conversation with some friends, and he was like, "Hey, if you had an extra $30,000 to spend right now, what would you spend it on?" And I gave some bling. Well, no, I do. I'm like really rich. So, but for all the no, I was gonna say. Anyways, yeah. So if you had $30,000 right now, and you could spend it on anything, it's not taxed, anything like that, what would you spend it on?
I'll tell you right now. Are you asking me?
Yeah. Like what would you want to do with it? And it doesn't need to be a trip. Like it could be a car. It could be some shoes.
Watch this.
Oh.
8 feet wider driveway, 10 by 12 shed, new deck, new patio, done.
Dude, so you have a lot of house projects
because
in mind.
I need $30,000 specifically for those things. I know what it costs. I've priced it all out. If anyone can please Venmo me $30,000, I can finally have a wider driveway.
Or what's going on?
Jeep Wrangler. Our driveway, we have a driveway that is like, it's not one lane. It's a little wider than one lane. So it basically goes up. It's a pretty long driveway, but then it opens really wide at the top. So you could fit like 3 cars at the top. But the problem is if you have anyone behind one of those 3 cars, you have to move that car all the way out of the driveway to get anyone else out because it's not big enough for 2 cars. So I want to widen it so that there's like basically 2 lanes. It's not that expensive of a project, but it's like, all right, 5,000-6,000 here, 5,000-6,000 there, 5,000-6,000. It's just all these projects. And then another $5,000-6,000 project are some really, really big trees overhanging my house that I get very annoyed by that I want to slash. I just want to get rid of them.
Dang. So everything is
I've thought about this.
It's like a funnel. Your driveway is kind of like a funnel a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. What would you What would you do? $30,000 right now. Venmo's showed up in your account. No takebacks. What are you spending on? You have 24 hours to spend it.
Ooh, 24 hours to spend it. I'm going
out of the rule. Out of the rule.
Yeah, I know. No, I like that rule. And it disappears in 24 hours. Am I understanding that correctly?
Goes back. It goes to Daniel. It goes to Daniel's. Daniel's money doubles every hour you don't spend yours.
All right.
So
all right.
My incentive is to get you not to spend it. In this new scenario, I added a 3rd rule. No, just kidding. You have 24 hours. Spend the money.
All right. Yeah, 30 hours. Honestly, I feel like mine's so cliche, and I even told this to my buddy. I feel like mine's so cliche because it is like I want to go take a trip and buy stuff on that trip.
You're such a normie. Where are you going?
Okay, that's a good question. I would go travel Europe. And I'd spend but that's the thing is if it disappears in 24 hours, I'd buy the flights and everything now, book the Airbnbs, take the cash out of the ATM.
Yep.
And well, I guess it's Venmo, so I can't. I'll go get sign up for a Venmo
24
card.
hours, doesn't matter where the money is. Someone's taking it. Someone's showing up in a mask and they're pickpocketing you.
Yeah, I'd travel Europe and
dude, Europe's
I'd have to spend in 24 hours. Okay, hold on. Europe's very what?
You don't forget the rule. Just tell me what you do. But you can travel in Europe really reasonably priced. Like when we lived in Spain, we went to London for a weekend. It was $40 round trip tickets to fly to London from Madrid. $40. Wow. Less than $100 for both of us to get to and from London. Like, unreal. I mean, it's like cheaper to fly than it is to get a tank of gas. Not always, but like the right flights in the right place, but like different country going from Spain to London and it's $40. So I'm like, it's so inexpensive to travel there. It's unreal.
That's what I hear. And as I heard specifically like Spain is a great place, whichever you would never move back. But
No, we've talked about it. We're not in a rush to leave where we are now, but we've talked
Yeah, of
about
course.
we want to go back periodically. So we might go back this year. We went back last year. We love
Okay.
we love Madrid. We love Spain in general. The culture there. It's just we love the country.
Yeah, that's right here. There's actually a girl on LinkedIn that was like, "Hey, would love to just pick your brain. Have you heard of Suji? Suji, if you listen, I don't think you do, but if you listen, what's up?"
Suji. I don't even
She's
know
at
how to spell that. I'm trying to picture the name, and I maybe
Okay,
have
try
heard
to
of it.
guess. Try to guess
S
the
S
spelling.
O S O U G E E.
Close. Suji. Not
Wow,
close
I
at all.
was
I
not
know.
close.
Yeah, she's awesome. She was actually really cool. Went to Madison, so she actually lived in Madison. I think she lives somewhere. She lives everywhere. She was just essentially
Sure.
saying like she's a digital
Yeah.
nomad kind of person,
Yeah.
traveling all over. She was like, Spain is a great place to actually go and have a family because it's cheap and it's safe and the culture's great. And it's welcoming, all this
Spain,
fun stuff.
Portugal, Italy, 3 countries I've been to and would go back to in a heartbeat. All 3 of them
Yeah.
have their own nuances, but I feel like if you're a digital nomad, I don't know. I've never been a digital nomad. I've moved around a lot, but like true digital nomads, like jumping from couch to couch types of lifestyles. I feel like I've seen so many of them go through those 3 countries. Obviously, you've heard of like the Bali and some of
Yeah.
the like farther east countries too. But if you're going through Europe, Portugal, Italy, Spain,
Okay.
amazing,
That's what I
amazing.
hear. What does your dream life look like?
I'd love to retire before I'm 40, but retirement is we've talked about this in the past, but it's not like stop working completely and just never lift a finger. I think retirement for me, like work on the things that you find value in and not be forced to work on those because you need a paycheck. So once that happens, whether it's before I'm 40 or not, I would love to lean into community. Courtney and I and my wife, we love building community, and we have local communities here. We have a local business that really is built around community. But like community, just doing what we think actually changes people's lives, being generous, finding needs, whether locally or globally, and doing what we can to help meet those needs or fill in a gap. Traveling, we'd love to travel. We've talked a lot in the past about having a kind of like a home base, and we love where we live now. So home base would probably be where we, or at least the area we live in now. But being able to go like, all right, we're gonna go for 3 months to, drop a pin, on the map, and maybe it's to, we're part of a family of churches. Maybe it's to go, spend time with the church abroad, or maybe it's to just live in Europe for some time. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things we've talked about doing. We've talked about Courtney, especially in school. She went to school for some different things involving 501(c)(3) like nonprofit work and stuff. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
we've talked about doing nonprofit like orphanage work, abroad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to do
But
meaningful work. I think that's where my heart goes. My heart and my mind go to doing what matters and not doing what doesn't matter. I think we do a lot that doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. We just you and I and everyone like people do things that just don't matter. I like to imagine a life where I'm not doing the things that don't matter as much as I am doing right now.
yeah. Okay. Let's get a little bit deeper on that and paint the picture here. You wake up, what's the first, okay, so you wake up in this dream life. What's the first thing you look at? What's the first thing you do in the
Would
morning?
love to. Yeah, I mean, some of these things I'll be the first to say are practical right now, and I should just implement them. But here's, we'll set that aside. Would love to not have to be on technology when I wake up, and not like immediately, like right now. Again, don't have to do that, but like to go hours, wake up one day with the sun, circadian rhythm, and go the whole day until the afternoon without needing to check a social account or look at Slack or see if anyone got back to me in an email. Like the needs that like never really stop in this stage of life, whether it's the 3 things I just described or something adjacent to those, we're just glued and tied to technology. But to be able to actually disconnect, but regularly as part of my lifestyle, I think that's what like the morning looks like. Brew a cup of coffee, hang out, do yoga, like meditate, like the things that sound in theory to be relaxing and de-stressing. That sounds, I don't know. That sounds like an ideal morning to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would live in Charleston, you said?
I don't know. I mean, I think we're open to, even when we were in Europe earlier this year, we've talked about like, man, it would be so cool to like come back to Europe every year. And we were daydreaming when we talked about this, but like buying property in Europe and having like a place to go back to that's like ours, where we get to know the town and the community and the people. I think eventually something like that could happen. But I think there's the balance of like, do we want, like when you buy property, you feel like you got to go back to that place. But like there's a freedom of like, well, we can go wherever we want, just get an Airbnb for a month and who cares where it is. But yeah, I don't know. Charleston is great. But there's a lot. I mean, the world's full of really, really cool places, and I haven't seen all of them.
It is. What would your house look like?
I've always been like, if you ever just like go on Zillow and look at like 5, 10, $15 million houses, I actually like the very, very modern ones. There's
like
the appeal of
windows, like square kind of. Like, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Like extremely minimalist inside interior. And like you look at it and it almost looks like the future. Like you look at the outside of the house and you're like, whoa, that looks like sci-fi. I love those houses. That said, I don't know that we would agree on that type of house, but I don't know. I mean, we're not going to buy a $10 million house. So it's like, I don't know. We went to Costa Rica on our honeymoon now almost 8 years ago. And the house we rented was like on the side of a mountain, very remote area overlooking the ocean. So you were probably a quarter mile from the ocean. So it's like right there, but far enough away where you're actually in the mountains. I'm like, that idea, Hong Kong, someone I work with just brought up Hong Kong. They were traveling through, they sent pictures. I went to Hong Kong about 12 years ago now, a few times. And I took this picture. I remember taking it. If you look at Hong Kong from like up above, there's a few aerial shots you can get of it. Dense city, mountains surrounding it, and then ocean, like water, like right in the middle. And it's like 2 islands, actually, Hong Kong is. I love the combination of that type of like city with water, with mountains. Seattle is similar. It's like very much like a city in the mountains on the water. I don't know, there's a lot of places like that in the world, but I love having all of it in the same place at once. It's very, very cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. I've never been to Hong Kong. I think I've never even had the desire to. Should I have the desire? I kind of have it now.
Definitely go to Hong Kong if you ever get the chance. I was in China for 3 months the summer of 2014, and I flew through Hong Kong. So I was there for a night before I went to China, but then I went back to Hong Kong at least 2 or 3 times for like a few days each. And it's just really a very, very cool city to experience. It's a melting pot in many ways. Like you go to New York City and there's like every culture and language imaginable. Like Hong Kong is, I don't want to say it's similar to New York City, but it's like very much so a melting pot of culture. So it's not just like you go to Hong Kong and there's a bunch of people from China. It's like there's people everywhere from all over the world. There's Russian here, a German there, someone from Great Britain, and then a lot of Chinese people, a lot of Japanese people. It's like Hong Kong is just very much like a melting pot. I loved it. It was so cool.
Yeah. In this dream life, would you do something? Like, is there anything you would do every single day?
The basics. I would try to pray. I would try to meditate. I would really just try to stay grounded.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would I do every day?
Do you meditate right now?
I try. Yeah.
Okay. So maybe not all the time, but yesterday was the first time. Yeah, I don't know how. I literally Googled yesterday how to meditate because I was like, I feel like I should meditate a little bit. Yeah. Just kind of like clear the mind before I get my day started.
Meditation, I've meditated more in certain stages of life than others, but like there's different forms of meditation. I remember doing one during school. I took a semester off. Technically, I was still a student, but it was like called a co-op. So it's like an internship where you're technically a full-time student, but you're working. I don't know why they do that, but I worked and I'd have a 25-minute commute to work. And I was seeing a therapist at this time who was teaching me how to meditate. And one of the forms of meditation that he had mentioned, and this is a really common one, I can't remember the name of it. There's an order of operations. It's like sight, touch, feel, smell, sound, I think. I'm probably botching this, but what you do is you clear your mind, turn off music. I did it while I was driving. Perfect world, you do it like in a room, but while you're driving is fine. And you go down the list of, all right, what is every single thing, you're just brain and eyes on the road. What is every single thing I see? And you start to just notice those things. Just see. All right, now move on to sight or to sound. What's everything I hear? So you're not trying to focus too much on the things you see. Obviously, you're driving at this point. If you're not driving, you just close your eyes. What do I hear? Identify all those sounds. What do I smell after that? And you just go through this list. And what it's doing to your brain is it's it's almost categorizing these senses so that you're not so distracted by all of them happening always at once. And you get better at training your mind to distinguish like distinct things happening to your senses. And I don't know, there's obviously science behind why
Interesting.
you do this,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
ultimately
yeah,
it
yeah.
calms the mind. It, slows the heart rate. It gets you to be more intentional. I found that it was just a really good way to start the day. I think work started at probably 8, so I was in the car at 7:30, and it was just a really good way to like start the day, to be very intentional. Get your emotions in check, prepare for work in that stage of life. So I don't know. That's one form of meditation. Obviously, you got that's like a very,
That's
I don't know,
yeah,
a
crisscross applesauce,
cliche.
hands in the air. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cliche, but like there's so many different forms. Prayer is a form of meditation.
That's what I assumed it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot
Interest-
of ways to meditate, and a lot of studies, spiritual and science, around why people should meditate and the effect it has on them.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I should do it. I was literally yesterday on the Stairmaster. I was looking at it. All
Yeah.
right, and then if again, back to this dream life scenario, what would you buy right now? Take your stupid little house projects out of this. What would you buy right now that you just want because you can?
Jeep Wrangler.
Really? What are you
Like a
driving now?
sick. This episode is sponsored by Zapier, which honestly is the only reason my newsletter growth doesn't look like a hot mess. You probably know this about me, but I work at Beehive, and I also have my own media company that's operated by Beehive, and I run Facebook lead ads using Meta. It's nothing fancy, but every time someone fills it out, a lead form on Facebook, Zapier just snags that event and drops the subscriber straight into my Beehive account. It's super easy to set up. There's no exports required. I don't have to like maintain it over time. I just set up this Zap one single time between Facebook and Beehive, and Zapier takes care of everything. It's an integration that works with Beehive, of course, but also like 8,000 other apps. So if you create a Zapier account and you want to connect your WordPress and your Shopify and your Beehive account and HubSpot contacts or Salesforce contacts, and you want to really integrate these different events that happen across your entire tech stack, Zapier is just that good at making it happen seamlessly. Zapier is my glue holding together my entire tech stack. And if you've got a business and you're trying to integrate your different tech tools across your stack, Zapier is the way to go. We have 2 cars. We have a Toyota Sienna, so like a van, and an Acura MDX, so like a 7-seater
Well, that's an
SUV.
SUV. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the van we need the van. We took a Wrangler to the Outer Banks a few summers ago. We rented one on Lake Turo and drove it to Outer Banks, and we went to those beaches in the Outer Banks that you just drive on the beach, and it's awesome. Ever since that, it's been maybe 3 years. We're like, oh, like we have to buy a Wrangler. And look, I know they're not reliable. I know they cost a lot to fix. I know there's a lot of safety issues with them. Like I know it's not the car to get if you want like the best car out there, but we want one. We both want one, and we want to be part of the club. If you're in a Wrangler and you pass a Wrangler, like you're waving at them, you're doing a little hand up on the steering wheel, like you're nodding your head. Like there's a community. And when we had that Wrangler for those few days, oh, it just felt like we were part of something bigger. We were part of something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah, yeah. I could see you being one of those big duck guys. I feel like your
Yes.
Wrangler would just have ducks stacked
Dude,
to the brim.
I would buy my own ducks. I would break all the rules. I would get so many ducks. No, just kidding. It was funny.
What?
We got a duck on the one that we rented, and it's like you're only supposed to give ducks to the ones that you're like, that is the sickest Jeep. Like it's
Oh,
like
really?
almost a form of, apparently, I don't know much about it, but that's what I've heard. And so you don't just
So
like
just
give away ducks to anyone. And it's specifically like the ones that aren't that impressive. Like they'll probably have less ducks. So like one of my friends is like a Jeep, like
big duck guy.
aficionado. Like it's funny. He doesn't have a ton of ducks, but he's got this crazy sick Jeep from way back in the day that he knows everything about and is apparently impressive, but like no one gives him ducks because it doesn't look impressive. And he's like, all these people with a whole dashboard of ducks probably just buying them themselves because no one gets that many ducks. I was like, that's funny.
Dude.
That is funny.
Where
That's a funny thing to care about.
Where do you think that originated from? The duck thing. Do you know?
I have no idea. That's a good question. We should ask chat.
Yeah,
Where
let's ask
did
chat.
the duck thing come from for Wranglers? Let's see what chat tells us. Searching the web.
The pond.
The duck thing, a trend among Jeep owners called Jeep ducking or duck Jeep. The tradition began in 2020. No, it can't be that new.
No,
2020? This is like a decades old.
Unless it started in COVID. I don't know. Hold on. Let's see. No, dude, chat. When did the duck Jeep
Maybe they don't think, I don't know. Someone tell us. Someone reach out to me.
2020 in Ontario, Canada.
It can't be true. It can't be true.
It said it started back in 2020 during COVID. All it took was for one Jeep owner named Allison Parliament to... Well, I'm chewing something. Can you tell?
Yes, I can. Very loud. Please stop.
Let's see. Let's see here.
Story behind the Jeep ducks. It actually started in 2020.
What?
That has to be wrong.
Dude, that's crazy. And in one person, I want to know how this started, but it took me to a Facebook post and I can't find it.
I'm reading something on Jeep Chrysler that says the practice of Jeep ducking originated in a small town in Canada in 2020.
Yeah, dude.
Allison Parliament from Ontario randomly bought a bunch of rubber ducks from a convenience store and gave one to another Jeep owner with a note that said, "Have a great day." The intent was to bring a smile to the individual and spread a little cheer that we all needed during the pandemic. This small interaction turned out much better than expected. The Jeep owner walked out of the store, was confused when he saw a rubber duck being placed in his Jeep. However, after reading the note was left behind, left a huge smile on his face. That night, #DuckDuckJeep was born after being posted on Instagram, and the rest is history. 5 years ago, I would have bet money that was not true. I needed someone who's a Jeep, just a Jeep savant to tell me this is wrong.
Please.
Like, please hit me up and be like, no, that is fake news. It started way before that. But like, this is until proven otherwise, it's a 5-year-old trend. So that's pretty cool.
That's crazy. Yeah, I would have guessed 1989, maybe, like something crazy like that, where it's just been, Wow. Interesting. Well, Allison Parliament, I know you're probably listening. Good stuff starting Duck Jeep.
She's our biggest fan, Allison Parliament.
She does not stop messaging us about loving our episodes. Anyways, that's awesome. That is so cool. But
yeah.
Okay, we're like, okay, you have all this money in the world. What trip would you take? What's the number one trip you want to go on?
Well, if I bought the Jeep, I would probably drive it.
No, take the Jeep out.
Somewhere. Okay, take the Jeep out. I would love to go to Tokyo. That's the, in this current stage of life, the most exotic and also difficult place to get to.
Yeah.
Like Europe, very easy to travel to Europe comparatively. It's not easy,
for sure.
But like comparatively, the time difference is 6-7 hours. The time in the plane is, 8, give or take. It's just easier transition. Going anywhere in Asia is just way harder on the kids, especially because of the 12+ hour time difference, all that stuff. But I've also never been to Tokyo, and I would absolutely love to go. I'm a big anime guy, so I watch a lot of anime. Love Japanese culture, love listening to Japanese. I don't know how to speak it at all, but I love the sound of the language. And I would just love to go. The history of Japan is something that's very fascinating to me. I'd love to go someday. I mean, Tokyo just sounds like such a cool city to go to. So, yeah.
I feel like I would love to go there alone. And maybe that's a really bad thing to say.
That'd be cool.
And I think I say that because my wife has zero interest. I've talked about it. Like, would you ever want to go to Japan? And she's like, yeah, that's not for me. We're put us in the mountains or put us on the water kind of people.
Yeah.
However, I feel like there
are mountains and water in Japan, just so we're all.
Yeah, but I'm thinking of Tokyo specifically. Fair.
I
don't know. So when I'm thinking of it, I'm like, I think like it would be a really cool trip to just go learn the culture. Of course, it'd be great to go with like your family and stuff, but like sit there and go for a week or two just by yourself and just learn everything, eat whatever, have no worries in the world. I feel like that would be really cool. Obviously, like logistically for my life, that makes zero sense and I would never do that. But I can't imagine dragging my 11-month-old and 4-year-old around Tokyo right now for a very extended period of time.
Yeah, I think the reason we like Spain so much is because we both speak Spanish. My wife a lot more than myself. So even in remote parts of Spain, like we're fine. We'll get by. Japan, obviously in the bigger cities, people are going to speak English. It's going to be fine. But if you were to travel outside of that at all, like there's nothing to fall back on if you happen to be somewhere where there's not much English speaking. I remember experiencing this in China. I was in Guangzhou where there's plenty of English speakers, but I traveled way out west into the Yunnan province and, Jiangxi and like all over the place in China where there was very little English speaking. And it didn't occur to me that I had learned some Chinese before going there, and I was conversational. I could get by, but there are dialects in China.
Mm.
So learning Mandarin Chinese in one specific way and not understanding the accent that someone in a different area of China might bring to Mandarin Chinese. Oh, dude, unbelievably difficult. So you just drop me somewhere 30 hours away from South China. And I'm like, I couldn't understand a single thing they were saying. And I was stuck
Really?
a number of
Yeah.
times, like in the middle of nowhere, like I just have to figure this out. That's a fun situation to be in as a 21-year-old who
Yeah.
speaks enough Chinese to get by, but is American learned Chinese.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
dude, it was fun though. I was single guy, didn't have a family, full of life.
Y-
It was a fun time of life.
You live such a unique life. Like what? Like
Yeah, it's
what were
been
you
fun.
doing over there? And
A
why?
number of things. I taught English,
Okay.
which I self-supported myself to move there for 3 months. Taught English to recoup some of the money at the end, and I was helping a church. There was like an underground church over there that I was doing like mission work with, which is pretty cool. Very illegal to do that in the way that I was doing it because China has two, at least back then, has two specific churches that are China governed and
Yeah, yeah.
Christian churches that are China governed. If you are part of those two churches, you're good. If you're not part of those two, you're breaking the law. Um, a lot of reasons
Oh,
why I helped an underground church there, but many of the non-denominational Christian churches in China are technically underground, some more than others. And so it was a cool experience, mission work, doing something like that in China. And then also just alongside learning Chinese in school was a very cool way to like put some of that to practice.
yeah. That's
Dude,
so
any
cool.
way you can put yourself in a culture fully immersed is, I will die by this, is the way to learn a language. I mean, I've learned book languages. I've learned German, Hebrew, Chinese, Spanish, and obviously English. I've learned technically all of those languages in school, professionally, some more than others. Spanish, learning it in Spain for a year, Chinese, learning it in China for 3 months. It like 10X's
Yeah,
your
so
ability
different.
to
Yeah.
comprehend. There's really just no comparison. So people like are all about like Duolingo and stuff. I'm like, whatever. I mean, you're probably learning vocabulary, some pronunciation, but like I have yet to experience a single case ever of someone who went from zero to Duolingo, drop them in the middle of a foreign country and actually have
Actually get by. Yeah,
conversations.
yeah.
Like maybe you can hear specific vocabulary and understand a little bit about what people are saying, but the types of things that you don't get until you're in real situations in another country. I mean, it's like embarrassing. Like
Yeah, yeah,
Duolingo
yeah.
is a fun, it's a fun thing. You're
It's
learning
fun to brag
something.
to your
It's
American
gimmicky.
friends.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
you're
I'm
like, "Yo,
like
look at this. I
day
can speak Chinese."
760 on my Duolingo streak. Like, I mean, who
Yeah.
cares? Like, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
doing anything, but like, good for you, but
Yeah.
I think that's all it is. It's like a game.
Yeah.
You're learning something, but it's not actually learning a language.
Yeah. You're a good man, for all the work that you've done. Do you think, and you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, do you think that you would be upset if one or both of your kids grew up and they're like, "Dad, I don't think religion is for me."
No, not upset.
Do you think you would have
Sad.
failed? Would you feel failed? Like that you
No,
failed? Okay.
no. Courtney and I, we want to do our best to display our own values and
Yeah.
to bring up our kids with those values. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the way that I view Christianity is that it is a personal choice. I grew up going to church, but did not consider myself a Christian until I chose to be one as I was 15, still very young, but that was my choice. It's not my parents' choice. And the same way that I'm raising my kids, it's not like they're not Christians until they choose one day to be one or not. And that's their choice. And I'll influence that choice as their dad, but I won't force them to do anything. I mean, that's the antithesis of what I believe the Bible teaches about following Jesus is that you don't force people to do it. I also don't expect people to live like a Christian when they don't say they are a Christian. I think that's what a lot of people get wrong about religion in general. I've studied at the graduate level. I've studied many different world religions, Islam, Judaism. That's why I learned Hebrew. I have a long line of people who were Jewish in my family. So like a lot of family history there as well. And I think history shows that when you expect a person to live the way that you believe people should live. When they don't believe that, it always turns into some kind of catastrophic war. You just don't, I don't believe anyone should live a certain way unless they want to. So I live a
Yeah.
certain way and I try to have values and display those values and try to be a good
Yeah.
person. And I have a lot of different diagrams of what I think that looks like based on my own belief system. But I mean,
Yeah.
my kids have to decide that for themselves. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I believe deeply.
Nice. I've always wanted to ask you that for like a year now, which by the way, this
I am
might be
not
coming
closed
out on a
off.
year.
I'm not closed off. I mean, you ask me any questions. I believe also there's a scripture that says always be prepared to give an answer. That's what I always try to answer any question someone asks me. And sometimes I'm not prepared. You
Yeah.
can throw me off.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you ask enough questions, eventually I'll be like, I have no idea how to answer that. But
Yeah.
that's part of why I studied culture in school and got degrees in history and philosophy and theology, is because I want to be able to uniquely interact with people of any different background or culture or religion, because I think that's how the world becomes a better place. I think too many people are too closed off and want to only interact with people who are like them. And if you look at history, that is just a dangerous ideology.
It is.
Anyone who is refusing to interact with or love those who are not like themselves is typically a one-way track to danger.
That nothing makes me more irrationally mad than people that will
But
only.
rationally, I don't think it's
But
irrational. I think that should
but
upset
but
you.
but it, but it's irrational because I shouldn't care what somebody else lives by and what they think and what they believe in and who they choose
Sure.
to interact with, right? So
I
like,
hear what you're saying.
but like, yeah, when it's like, I don't even want to get too far into it, but when anybody is just they think this way, I will never be their friend or I'll never respect them. I'll
Yeah.
whatever it might be. Like, come on, the
I,
world's too beautiful for stuff like that.
yes, there are two things that I've heard said before. I think possibly by the same person, but I can't remember. One of them is, I reserve the right to change my mind on this opinion. And I've always tried my very best when expressing an opinion I have or a belief system that I've adopted to do it all through that lens. I reserve the right to change my mind on this opinion, because
Yeah, yeah,
you learn new things every day. You learn new
yeah,
things every day. And at some point, there might be something that shows me something more about something I believe that changes my opinion on that thing. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I try to believe the best in people until they show me I should believe otherwise. I think that is the opposite of how most people live their lives. I think most people assume the worst. I think most people assume people are bad people. Most people assume people are up to no good, have malice, deceit, whatever. And unfortunately, many people do. I mean, the reality is
yeah.
many people are not,
Absolutely.
quote, good people. But when I'm confronted in a one-on-one situation with someone who tells me something about themselves or something about their universe, I choose to assume they're telling me the truth, that they are honest people, that they are good. Again, until it is obvious to me, not what I've heard or what I've seen in the grapevine, like to me personally, that is not the case. I think people actually act and behave better when given the benefit of the doubt. I don't think people don't get the benefit of the doubt as much as I think they should. And I think,
Yeah.
again, this is all, I think just the world would be a better place if more people gave others better benefits of the doubt and second
Yeah.
chances and assumed the best in people instead of the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I always heard, I don't know where it was from, but just the phrase "assume positive intent." So if somebody even does do
Yes, assume
something, and
positive intent.
yeah. So I've always kind of lived by that. And I'm the same way. And I think, I don't know, I just think that there's, I don't know, I think the same way. I'm just trying to think of like when I go out and meet people, random people. I always assume like, oh, it's a great person, it's a good guy, and maybe they're
Yeah.
not, right? Maybe they're doing so many other things that are horrible below the surface that I don't
Well,
know
and
about. But
assuming the best in people or assuming positive intent doesn't mean being stupid either. I
yeah,
mean, you think
yeah,
you and I are both parents, and if we're out in public and you need to use the bathroom, something you don't do is ask a stranger to watch your kids while you go to the bathroom. Well, I assume the positive intent, like everyone's fine. I assume they're going to be fine. No, you don't do that. That's stupid. It's not, you should be more trusting of strangers. It's do not leave your kids with a stranger. That's
yeah,
so there's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's boundaries that you draw still. But, if I'm working at a coffee shop and I have to go to the bathroom, depending on where I am, I may leave my laptop there. Usually I don't. But I think I'm aware that in most cases, if I were to just tap the guy next to me and say, hey, I got to run to the bathroom real quick. Can you watch my stuff? 99% of the time, that person would be like, yeah, sure, for sure. Like, totally fine. Like,
Yeah.
what? You're going to
Yep.
just happen to ask a thief to watch your stuff who's going to take that 30-second opportunity to steal all your things? Like, the odds are slim. More people are willing to be good people than people who are willing to be bad. So,
No.
yeah,
Damn.
all very interesting conversation.
That was beautifully said. That was beautifully said. You're good at that. you're good at explaining things.
You're so good. You're so good.
You're so good at explaining.
You so speak good. Thank you.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. What do you have for me? I just asked you a ton of questions. Let me hear you one off rip. I do. I know. I
came unprepared.
I do gotta jump a little
unprepared.
early. I have to jump on a call in 10 minutes on the road. 20 minutes. But yeah.
What would you do if your kids decided to be religious?
Yeah. And so I haven't ever once spoke about religion on this podcast because I don't care to. But I'm not like, I did not grow up in a religious household, right? So all my extended family outside of my household family is all religious. My direct family, not religious. We never went to church. So I didn't grow up on it. So I never have I attempted in college when I was dating a girl who was very religious, old school Catholic, kind of like threw me off a little bit going to a very old school Catholic church. And it was very foreign. And I was like, whoa, what was that? And there's nothing against it. It's literally like going to a country and somebody's talking to you and you don't know what they're saying. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know what you, I don't know
mass. Yeah. It's very different.
So anyways, I don't care. Be religious. Are you kidding me? My sons can do whatever kind of like to your point, they can do whatever they want. And I even tell people like, I'm not against learning about it. Like, I don't hate it. Like, there's a lot of people out there that are very science-based and they're like, oh, you're dumb for thinking Jesus is real. Like that kind of, I think I purposely neglect conversations around it so I don't ever have to think about it. And I think I do that with many topics in life, to be honest. When I don't want to think about something or I don't believe, if I don't want to put the brain power behind a specific topic, I'm like, I just won't even think about it, you know?
Why do you think that is?
I avoid conflict. That's my biggest red flag, and I tell everybody that. I hate conflict. I hate anything about just anything about, I hate negative vibes. I really hate negative vibes. And so like, I'm not saying that there always needs to be a negative vibe with conflict. I don't think that's true at all. I think there's very healthy conflict that you can have. And I think I need to indulge into more of those conversations because I don't have them enough. But I'm definitely like, just give me like happy, like I just want to smile and be happy and not serious all the time. And so like, that's just who I am. And so I think I purposely avoid it. And so I'll give you a good example. My mom is the same way. And I definitely learned it from her. And I wish I did not, for sure. This is the one thing I wish that I was not like, is where I avoid conflict. But we went to Chicago. And I hope she doesn't listen to this, but we went to Chicago. Lovely. She's lovely. She paid for the Airbnb and stuff like that. We were there for a handful of days. And she wasn't being as helpful as I would have wished. And I let her know, but I had never once let her know that, even though that is a talking point where it's like, if we're flying out to Dallas or spending $1,200 to get there or getting your car, like, come on, help us out a little bit, right? And so wasn't very helpful. It's the most stressful trip I've ever had. There's just times where, we're at dinner and the kids are losing it and it's me having to calm them down. I'm like, come on, grandma, please help. I need you.
Yeah.
So then I finally got to the point where I just like tapped her on the shoulder and I said, I need you to do more. And then I kind of just walked. She didn't say anything because she hates conflict too. She would never once be like, well, what do you think that is? Or like, I'm sorry. It was just quiet, nothing. And so I grew up in a household like that. Anytime that there was conflict, you just didn't talk about it. You swept it under the rug. So I avoid all conversations that make me, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but conversations I don't want to have. Yep. That's Troy, everybody. It's my red flag. My wife always talks to me. You need to open up more. And I'm like, do I?
I think you are probably not unique in that. I think most people learn from a very early age to protect themselves from being in situations that require discomfort. And the questions of life require being uncomfortable. What happens when you die? Does all of this actually exist? Is heaven and hell real? Like, those are questions that most people avoid asking and answering. The easiest way is just say no to all of it. A lot of people won't actually put their foot down and say, I will argue that this is no, and here's why. because they've never thought that much about it. So I think the big questions of what is the meaning of life, that's easy to avoid because those are huge questions, very overwhelming. But the trickling effects of, well, I just don't like having any uncomfortable conversation about what meaning of life is and what I should be doing in the 12 to 16 hours a day I have awake and all these different things. You're not
Yeah.
alone. No one
Yeah.
wants
Yeah.
to put themselves in a situation that requires discomfort. But I think there's ways you can learn how to ask and deal with some of those questions. Not that you have to. I mean, you're your own adult man. You don't have to do anything different than what you've done the last 30 odd years, but you can
Yeah. No.
definitely have conversations about that and figure out how to deal with it.
Yeah. Do you think here's a question I've always had, and maybe this is for a different episode. It's more on the religious side. Do you think? Maybe it is. Let's leave off with
Bring
this.
it up. Bring it up. Let's do a cliffhanger.
I will, but because I had, yeah, exactly. This will be. There's so many different religions out there, and many of them believe in different things, or maybe one religion has many gods and multiple gods, and then Christianity, there's like, maybe I'm wrong about this because again, I'm not educated about it, but there's like one God
Sure.
and things like that. So let's just say, okay, let's just say God put us all on this earth. Why do so many different religions believe different things? And a lot of them are somewhat conflicting and contradicting. So do you believe that there's one, and maybe because you're a Christian, you do, but that there's one specific religion that you have to be to follow God, or like, you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know how to ask
Yes.
it, but I always wonder, like, if it's true.
I will help you ask the question more concisely, and we can have that conversation. That's a
Man, I think that should be the next episode, to be honest. Like,
we can talk about it
because a lot of people are in my shoes where they just grew up not religious, and they're like, I don't really care about it. Then there's people that are like, religion is dumb, and then there's people, of course, like you, where it's like, no, like I choose this life because of X, Y, and Z. And I think it would be really interesting. We need to, maybe we need somebody on this pod where it's like, I'm anti-religion, and it's like, let's just talk. Let's just all three talk.
Sure.
Oh,
yeah. I think those are very engaging conversations. I mean, there's really just there's a library and encyclopedia of directions we could take that conversation, but it's a great question.
And to anyone here that's anyone listening that is religious, pardon my stupidity. I didn't grow up religious.
Not stupidity. But no. Most of the planet has those questions and either never asks them or has never gotten a good answer to them. So I think you're not stupid. I think those are very valid questions to ask.
With that, now you can get into
Where do they find us? Two Dads in Tech, Troy?
Yeah, twodadsinTech.com. And I noticed that your name on this just says Two Dads in Tech.
I know.
And not Daniel. It's funny.
But it doesn't show up on the recording, so who cares?
It doesn't. twodadsinTech.com. Go there. All of our podcast episodes are there, YouTube episodes, things like that. And then from there, what really helps us is 5 stars on Apple and Spotify. Like, it really, really helps us. So if you've gotten here 43 minutes in, I'd greatly appreciate if you spent the next 5 seconds just giving us 5 stars. YouTube, hit subscribe. We just crossed 700 subscribers. Daniel and I are both a little upset that it took us this long to get to 700, but I also think it falls on us and how much we
it does
and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, go hit subscribe as well. Really helps us. Other than that, see you next week.
Awesome. See you next week.